Welcome back to another SJHL season preview on sjhl.ca and across the SJHL social media platforms. And of course, all of our season previews this year and our coaches' conversations are presented by Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. And today we are pleased to be joined by the new head coach and general manager of the Yorkton Terriers, Emery Olauson. Emery, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. Really appreciate it. How's it going?
It's going well. It's been a very, very busy couple weeks for myself and family, and of course the whole Yorkton Terrier organization. But it's an exciting time of year, right? The players are here vying for positions and trying to make an impact and trying to make a good first impression on a new head coach, and I'm trying to do the same, right? We're all new to each other, and it's been good. The returning guys have been great and kind of helping out where they can, and having two returning assistant coaches with Scotty and Zach, that's been a huge benefit, of course. And we're moving in the right direction. So we're off to a good start, and we're excited about the way things are going so far.
No doubt about it. Well, first and foremost, congratulations on being named the new head coach and general manager of the Yorkton Terriers. For you personally, obviously, being a player in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, also being an assistant coach in the SJHL, what does it mean for you to be back in the league?
You know what? It means a lot. I had an opportunity to come to the league a few years back, and timing wasn't perfect, and so I waited, and I probably have thought ever since, like, what was I thinking? That this is the league I played in. I believe in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. It's been so steady over the years. You don't see, teams coming and going on a regular basis or anything like that. And everyone seems to be doing a really good job. And these small Saskatchewan communities support their hockey teams like none other across the country. And players are lucky to come to this league and join these communities and organizations that have had hockey in them a long time. Here in Yorkton, over 50 years of junior hockey, and what a thing to be a part of.
For sure. I gotta ask, describe the last couple of weeks for you personally, between accepting the job, moving, training camp this past week. It must have felt like a whirlwind for you.
Completely whirlwind, yeah. You know what? Our lives were kind of in order. I left a junior A job out on the East Coast just a year ago, and in my mind and in our family's thought process, this was a lifestyle change, and we were moving out to the mountains and closer to my family. And you know what? We had a really good year, and I was encouraged by some people I have a lot of respect for in the hockey world to climb back up the ladder and see where this takes you, because the first year in Columbia Valley, we had a 9-loss season, and I think our team was plus 92 with a very, very young group. So, it kind of reinvigorated my passion for coaching, and hockey is one of those things. Like, if you get comfortable and you're content where you're at, well, you probably won't stay there long either. So we looked at this opportunity, and when it was presented to us by the board here in Yorkton, it just kind of made sense, even though the timing didn't make sense at all. It was time to try this and challenge myself with a new adventure and a new league. And I've got to know most of the coaches in the league throughout the last few years of been in the business, and I got a ton of respect for all of them. There's really, really strong coaches in the league that have built good programs, and we want to see what we can do with ours here.
For sure. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but how was training camp this past weekend, and how was your first preseason game last night as you kind of get used to, your new environment, but also seeing a lot of these players that you haven't seen before?
Yeah, training camp was good. It was, the returning guys have really, I challenged them with setting a standard and, making sure that the culture that we talk about is something that our opponents will recognize as well, right? There's a hope of a culture, and then there's, playing like that and acting like that. And I've been really, really impressed, actually. The returning guys, they seem to be extremely hungry. They want nothing more than, to be on the flip side of the standings and one of the, top teams coming into trade deadline and postseason and things like that. And to me, they're doing the right things early on. They're working hard. We ask them to we call it putting in the bank when, you get a little conditioning skate at the end of ice times. And they certainly are. The work ethic has been good. The pace has been pretty good. It's scrambled, of course, because you got kids age 16 to 20 of a ranging, skill set and all that kind of stuff, and no set lines and no system work yet. So we just kind of asked them to be competitive, and we're looking for second and third effort guys and honest efforts on pucks and stuff like that. And we have seen that. The game last night kind of went as we thought it might. We had about 10 days late on the start as opposed to Weyburn's team, and Mapes has got them kind of dialed in and has already cut down to about 30 of the potential players that make his team, and we were sitting at near 60, 55, 60 this week. So we got to find some facts on our prospects and have a look at some guys that we wanted to get into a game. I wanted to get to know them a little bit more as players, and they hung in there, right? Like the Weyburn team outshot us quite badly last night by about double. Our goaltenders were phenomenal for an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old goaltender. 17-year-old and 16-year-old goaltender. They did great. They carried the mail for us. They gave us a chance. Went to overtime in a shootout, and that was mostly because of the goaltending was very strong. But they showed a lot of resiliency. They showed a lot of courage going out there. A much younger team going against an older team with some regulars in the lineup from Weyburn last night. And if it was a regular season, we would have got a point there. So looking forward to as things evolve and getting more of our older guys in here for the rest of the exhibition games, starting to work on chemistry, starting to touch on systems a little bit more, and have the puck on our stick a whole lot more than what we saw last night. But I was encouraged by the grit and the work ethic and all that stuff from our listed kids, and some of the guys pushing to make a spot in the lineup did make an impression last night, which is what you're looking for in that first game.
You mentioned the returning players, and I have to ask, accepting the head coach and general manager position just a couple of weeks ago, but for you, now that you've seen a little bit of training camp, what do you make of this Yorkton Terriers roster that you inherit?
Well, man, we make a really good basketball team. There's a lot of size. I think right now at camp we've got like 6 guys that are 6'6" or higher. But they're moving well, and specifically on the returners. When you look at our roster, you got a guy like Ruptash who led the team in scoring as an 18-year-old. You've got Sleva, who's got just leadership oozing out of him, who is second on the team in scoring, returning. You got guys on the back end, that I think honestly last year's team, you take out a couple of injuries and you add age to the guys that we do get a year older and more mature and more experienced. I think that's a playoff team already. So it was really about bringing some more to the table with a couple of recruits. I think the draft was well done. Like the Osberg first overall kid, he just really impressed me, and so did the kids on the list are good. So that's going to be the hard part about the management side is adding the right elements to our team from last year while keeping all of the things in place that we can. But no, I don't know if that answers your question at all. But there's definitely a element to the players that they want to build a better program, and they want to be part of. They know that missing the playoffs 2 years in a row is just not going to be an option.
For sure. I know it's early. Obviously, you still have lots to determine throughout the preseason and cut downs, and even the first couple of games of the regular season as an evaluation portion. But right now, when you look at this team on paper, Emery, what do you think the strength of this hockey club is?
It's going to be really hard to say. I haven't seen the opponents yet, and I don't know what to gauge it against. I really like, I think it's an interesting build because I like to get, a team that gets out on offense and jumps up into rushes and things like that. And I think the benefit is here we've got these big, strong, kind of, your prototypical stay-at-home defenseman. So it's going to be a melding of styles a little bit. But I think when it all comes together, we've got a team that can be very difficult to play against in the D zone. Hopefully we can get a lot of pucks back early and put pucks into the holes in the D zone and try and earn them back. But I think the depth at the forward position and guys that I believe can contribute offensively, that's got to be where right now, without seeing our opponents, I think we've got a lot to work with. And obviously in our division we got Melville, and Doug's probably gonna have something that Melville's been lacking for a while, but I mean, that's going to be a tough opponent. Doug's always been competitive, and always does a very good job. And then you got Mapes and Tarnix. Like the teams in the division, I think, are going to be tight, and we want to be extremely competitive with them and get to know our opponents a little bit better than I do now. But yeah, early indication to me would say we should have depth in scoring, and add depth in scoring to like Reptush, Sleva, Kennedy. There's a bunch of guys back that can certainly put the puck in the net and get the job done.
For sure. Finally, Emery, I guess you touched on it with the returning guys, and they're putting in the work because they understand that missing the playoffs last year is not where they want to be. So I guess for you now, moving into your first year as head coach and GM, what are your expectations for this coming season? Obviously, it's going to be an adjustment, but by the sounds of it, obviously everyone's kind of motivated to try and get this club back in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, as a coach, you have to be, on the development side, we want to get better by 1% every day. But just giving guys the opportunity to go out there and make mistakes on their toes, right? If you're developing players, you can't go in that with a safe mindset. You have to go in there with, here's the system, we understand it, and now our job is to get on our toes and play it to the best of our ability. So, for me, it's just going to be, my goal is to earn the kids' trust and get them playing the way that I think they're capable. And I think when that happens, we want to be a contender. Like you can't get there without saying it. We want to be in short order. We want to flip the script and be a team that is pushing towards the top of the standings. And obviously, once you make the playoffs, then you want to get home ice advantage. And once you get home ice advantage, you want to get it in the second round. So we want to be in that mindset come Christmas. And that's a tall order, right? Like that's a big turnaround. But I do, having met kind of the players and understanding the character of the group, I think that's what we have to be driven towards.
Well, no matter what, it's going to be a very exciting year for the Yorkton Terriers. Emery, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it, and best of luck in your first year with the organization.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well.